welcome to WSABE 2014 Champion Legal Webinar Series. Excellence in Workplace Health and Safety is today's topic. The agenda for today is key dates, and then we'll discuss the topics of excellence in workplace health and safety, which is one of the WSABE Awards for 2014, your entry and inspiration, and sharing knowledge. Key dates, of course, entries open on May 1, so we're counting down the days. Entries close June 26th, and the Gala Awards night is a must for your calendar on August 22. I missed our panellists. Carl Albrecht from Australian Work Health and Safety Proprietary Limited, and of course Carl Roberson from Champion Legal. Welcome, Carl. Welcome, Geoff.
Hello, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
So this is your area of expertise, Carl, and of course, by way of default, yours, Geoff, from all the different matters that you've had to conduct in this area. Can you explain how a small business today can identify, control and review health and safety risks in their business?
That's a fundamental part of any health and safety management system. Organisations have got to identify hazards in high-risk areas. They've got to assess the risk and decide on how to treat a hazard. It should be remembered that it's not about making every workplace completely pure, devoid of all possible hazards, but it is about those managing risk down to as low as is reasonably practicable. And of course, the review process is to have a look at the end of a period of time and see whether the things we've put in place work. Have they made things better? Have they made it worse?
I think from a legal point of view, obviously, people running small businesses, be they doing it through a company as directors or whether they're sub-traders or partners in a business, obviously you've got workers' compensation insurance and you've got public liability insurance. So it's absolutely imperative you have someone like Carl inspect your premises, how you operate the business to make sure that your business is compliant. And I think we'll get on to a bit more later, Carl, but it's also a very good thing from running a business efficiently and profitably that these things all tie together. So any small business operator must have a very high awareness of their duties in relation to occupational health and safety responsibilities.
Absolutely. And with small business at the moment, I mean, it's such a big topic, workplace health and safety, and Carl, you gave some great examples there. Is there like a common feature of business, you know, the one key topic they really shouldn't ignore in health and safety across all sorts of businesses, whether it be office or, say, a retail outlet or a mechanic's workshop?
I think, Michelle, one of the fundamentals has got to be consultation with the people that are actually hands-on at the pointy end of the business, if you like. The management can't know everything about the processes and the procedures, certainly not have intimate detail, that they should understand the operations of the business. But the purpose of health and safety consultation is to make use of the knowledge and the experience of the people who are doing the hazardous work, to find out in the context of the individual workplace what can go wrong, how bad it can be, and they'll very often have a good idea of how we can effectively manage that hazard. And it may not be from their own work, their current workplace, it may be from knowledge gleaned at a previous workplace. And that knowledge, if there isn't the opportunity to consult and to discuss, that knowledge often gets locked up and you don't get to have that benefit.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I think obviously, you know, regular meeting, you don't want to spend all your time meeting with people, but obviously you can do quick stand-up meetings, and I think you know, people at the coalface, as it were, know about matters that provide threats, and it's not just in manufacturing or businesses that you know, obviously have physical threats, forklifts running around, that sort of thing. But even in an office environment, there are there are health and safety issues that we've all got to be very conscious of. And as you know, people can become quite casual about leaving things lying about, and you can imperil your insurance if you know of obstructions and you don't do something about it. If someone falls over and injures themselves, and you as an employer know that you've allowed a passageway to become crowded or cupboards or files to be put there, then you create a problem. So it really applies across the board to all employers to ensure that the workplace remains a safe place to work at every level, both from the ordinary office right through to the most perhaps active factory floor.
So that leads us to the next question in the WSABE 2014 award for this category. Explain how business officers, directors, company secretaries, senior managers are made aware of their OH&S responsibilities. So a great example there, Geoff, of the boxes in the hallway, making sure that the people who are dealing with the day-to-day are aware of these issues. Is there anything in particular for directors that they should be aware of with all the changes in the law, Geoff?
I think, it is challenging keeping up to date for directors, but I think, the acronym OH&S has become well established, and as most people would know, running a business, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So there's a lot of advertising done by businesses that provide advice on how to keep your workplace safe. I think that there's a lot of business advice through New South Wales Business Chamber, through the various industry bodies. I think that people are well aware that they have to address this issue, and certainly, as I touched on earlier, directors of companies, partners in business, or sole traders. If you're the owner, if you're the boss, if you're running the business, you've got to keep your antennae up and be aware. And you can get so much information now on Google, but obviously there's nothing like the experts. You must become aware of a business like Australian Work Health and Safety, where people like Carl, who've put a lot of time into study, know all about it, massive work experience. And you can't beat that sort of experience. If you need advice, there's no substitute for going to the experts, and there's literally no excuse these days. In fact, it's the onus. I mean, normally in the Westminster system, you say that you're innocent until proven guilty, but really with workplace issues these days, it's the other way around. So I think employers need to be very, very vigilant and very much on the ball in ensuring a safe workplace.
And in fact, the current legislation does place a duty on officers, as they're described now. It's the same definition as the Corporations Act, to be proactive and get knowledge about the operations of the business, to have an understanding of the hazards and the risks and what's available, what's best practice out there. What's our competitor up the street? Well, you won't know their trade secrets, but what is available out there? And in this day and age, we always know when there is a new car or new beer on the market. Unfortunately, health and safety information doesn't get that level of mass media promotion. Therefore, it's incumbent on directors and chief executive officers, and under the new law in particular, chief financial officers, to be proactive and go out and get that information for themselves. They just can't wait for the information to come to them.
So, Carl, in your role working with these people, have you got any standout stories of proactivity from directors or leaders in firms or businesses?
Yes, I do. I do work for one of the biggest bakeries in the Southern Hemisphere, and in their Victorian branch, we've just reinvigorated their walk cards. That's a system where each employee is expected on a regular basis to do their own mini risk management process. And they had the one card for all 400 employees. What we did was to divide the workplace along its existing divisions. Each division, under their own manager, developed one of these walk cards for their own division, made it more specific to that particular work group, and that appears to have worked quite well. But on a broad scale, Michelle, it's often stated that the top 10 companies on the Australian Stock Exchange have better health and safety outcomes to companies 11 to 20. But it doesn't matter the size of the organisation, big or small. Work health and safety can certainly have an impact that improves the bottom line.
So perhaps then for our interested contestants of the WSABE Awards, setting up some sort of mini risk assessment in their business, or having, giving empowerment to their staff members to do their own risk assessment of their role, could actually be a good topic for their entry in excellence in workplace health and safety.
Undoubtedly, and I mean, as far as measuring health and safety, often we get locked into these lost time injuries and significant injuries, which, when you look at it, are actually measurements of failure, not often enough do we measure positive performance indicators. And having health and safety as part of the workers' KPIs, having mini risk assessments done when an inspection is done of the workplace. If you've got 100% of the people wearing their PPE, let them know, thank them. When it's a particularly strange person who doesn't like being thanked.
That's a great suggestion. Is there any other take-homes or stories that you'd like to tell the audience about your work in workplace health and safety, Carl?
I think overall, Michelle, whether businesses decide to do nothing or whether they decide to do something, they're going to have an impact on a person. And that person is going to be somebody's mother, father, sister, brother, son or daughter. So whether you decide to do something or whether you decide to do nothing, you're going to have an impact on a person.
Absolutely. And that's something that we see all too often, isn't it, Geoff? Have you got some closing comments for the audience regarding workplace health and safety?
Yes, I was going to say, whilst we've concentrated obviously on workplace, this whole area of occupational health and safety is also an area that people living in apartment blocks need to be aware of, that it's required, there's owners, corporations, and they're required to ensure that those premises remain compliant with occupational health and safety issues. So it's not something you can just say, oh, that only concerns work or my boss. It really, if you're living in an apartment block or own an apartment, it's another area that really is starting to become more of greater concern, with people being injured, say, through falling over something left in a corridor. So it's a very significant area that we all have responsibility, and it's not something you can say in your workplace or at home, it's not my problem. It really is something we all need to put our effort into, and to make sure and look around. If you see something you don't believe is safe, speak up. I know in our business here, Michelle, we have a very good process, and we actually document and are required to document any what we call process improvements. So process improvement reports are another great way to recognise people, keep track of what we do, and it encourages people and gets into the culture of your business that you are striving all the time to improve what you do. And as we touched on earlier, it does go often straight to the bottom line. So I can only encourage people to give it a very significant priority.
Yes, that's a great take-home message. Workplace health and safety, or even as you say, strata place or even your own home, health and safety is everyone's responsibility. So thank you very much, Carl. Thank you very much, Geoff, for joining us today.
Thanks, Michelle.
So, of course, one of the benefits of entering the WSABE this year is the opportunity to attend our gala evening on August 22. So please make sure you've got that in your diary. And we've got great events coming up through the month of May with the entries opening, including, of course, our weekly webinars here at Champion Legal, 4 p.m.-ish on Wednesdays. And, of course, our Facebook WSABE Support Forum. So please join us there. Thank you for listening.